evening with your CIGTV News Update. I'm Donna Bush. Glad you could join us. We begin with news from officials in the Ministry of Community Affairs who are about to launch the next phase of consultations to further improve services and revise outdated legislation as it relates to poor relief programs.
I believe, as does the Minister, the Ministry, and my unity government, that it is essential that we deliver the changes necessary to make those programs fit for purpose. If we need to bring our laws and regulations up to date, we must do so. If we need to improve our processes and practices to be more responsive to those we serve, we must do so. And if we need to work better across government ministries and coordinate efforts to more efficiently help the right people at the right time, we must do so. These principles guided the development of the 8 strategic objectives of the National Unity Government, of which goal number 6 deals specifically with social assistance, namely to create stronger communities and supporting the most vulnerable in our society. This policy objective further guided the Ministry of Community Affairs vision, which is to empower people and enhance lives. Phase 1 consisted of consultations with various ministries and departments, ranging from the Ministry of Community Affairs, Home Affairs, Health, and Human Resources, with the goal of developing a strategic plan that would guide and strengthen financial assistance services. Simultaneously, though, we also looked at what other jurisdictions within the region were doing in terms of delivering social and financial assistance. The feedback received from both consultations proved invaluable. The Ministry also recognizes that we must embrace the contribution that the voluntary sector can make to this agenda, namely local charities and other private sector stakeholders. As such, we are now set to launch by the end of January 2019, Phase 2 of our consultations, this time with private citizens, to gain further insight which we believe will guide the necessary changes to legislation by repealing the Poor Persons Relief Law, which in turn will serve to underpin the delivery of social assistance to those most vulnerable.
The next round of consultations will take the form of questionnaires and focus groups, which will be coordinated with key stakeholders identified by the working group. Now, the ministry is hoping it will receive a significant degree of support from the public, civic organizations and charities with these efforts. If you're interested in participating, you're encouraged to contact the Ministry of Community Affairs at mincays@gov.ky. And you can watch the entire interview with Councillor Harris on CIGTV starting at 8 o'clock tonight and on the CIG Television YouTube channel. Now for a recap of Monday's meetings held in Brussels between Premier the Honourable Alda McLaughlin, his delegation, and officials from Brussels, Cyprus, and Luxembourg. CIGTV heard from Minister for Financial Services, the Honourable Tara Rivers, who was part of the Cayman team.
So today was a very busy day. We had a number of meetings throughout the course of the day, 5 in total actually, and they were all very productive and constructive in terms of the feedback received. We heard directly that the level of engagement that the Cayman Islands has shown was certainly recognized both at the technical level as well as at the political level, and so we were encouraged to continue to be actively engaged in this process, which we certainly have been. This is my 5th trip to Brussels, the Premier having come 3 times, and so they acknowledged that the work of the technical team working with the Commission services, as well as the political commitment and engagement that we've shown throughout this process, certainly has been acknowledged, as I said, in the various meetings that we had today. And so we look forward to continuing the dialogue in the various meetings planned for the week ahead.
Now, the delegation is expected to be back home on January 24th. Finally, last Saturday, Governor Martin Roper and his wife, Lissy, dropped by a beach cleanup at Barefoot Beach. The event was organized by Plastic Free Cayman and is supported by Red Sail Sports and local volunteers. A governor's office press release says the visit followed a meeting with Plastic Free Cayman founder Claire Hughes and educational coordinator Bill Hughes when they explained the work of the organization to raise awareness of the threat of plastics to the environment. The governor and Mrs. Roper joined a group of some 70 volunteers who were collecting plastic from Barefoot Beach and saw firsthand the threat that plastics and styrofoam pose to wildlife and the environment. Governor Roper says he was pleased to drop in on Plastic Free Cayman's beach cleanup in Northside last Saturday. And that ends today's news update here on CIGTV. If you missed it, you can check out our Facebook page. That's the Cayman Islands Government Facebook page, as well as the CIG Television YouTube channel. As always, I wish you a safe and wonderful night. I'm Donna Bush with CIGTV.
Boating, fishing, and water sports in the Cayman Islands are great, but keep a cool head. Here are 7 tips for fun and safe sea outings. Number 1. Use a checklist to plan your outing. Check the weather forecast, make a float plan, and share it with someone who is remaining on land, stating where you're going, with whom, and when you're expected to return. Visit your nearest marine supply store to get your safety gear. This includes signaling mirrors, whistles, and a flare kit. It's also very important to have onboard flotation devices and life vests for each person. There are different types of vests. Some are for water sport activities such as snorkeling, and others are for going on offshore boating or on fishing trips. Number 2. These items can be lifesavers in case of an accident or bad weather. Number 3. Use a motor kill switch, especially if you're boating alone. In case of a leak or breakdown, always stay with the boat until help arrives. If you capsize, an emergency beacon or locator device can send a distress signal to inform the authorities of your location. Larger flares will indicate distress to a boat, airplane, or search and rescue officials. Number 4. In addition to sunscreen, food, and beverages, it would be smart to have a cell phone. Make sure your marine radio works. Cayman boaters use Channel 16 to communicate. Number 5. Also, don't forget your anchor and sufficient rope. Number 6. Boat operators should be familiar with the local waters and reefs, as well as the capabilities and functions of the vessels they are using. Always obey the rules of the sea and the marine environment, and have courtesy for others. Number 7. Alcohol and salt water do not mix, especially if you're the captain. Some useful contact numbers are 911. The RCIPS Marine Base is 649-7710, and the Port Authority is 949-2055. Smooth sailing, all!
The Esterly Tibbetts Highway 3-lane roundabout is ready for drivers. It's time to make sure you know how to use it. First, know which exit you need to take. Pay attention to lane arrows and signs. Make sure you use your signal to change lanes or exit the roundabout. To turn left, you always approach in the left-hand lane and indicate left. To drive straight ahead, you need to be looking out for signs and road markings indicating which lane to use. Get in one of the lanes marked with a straight-through arrow. If turning right, you must use the right-hand lane and indicate accordingly. To use the roundabout safely, remember these 3 tips. Know your exit, pick your lane, and signal to make your turn.